Hey guys, my name's Jessie and welcome to Reading, Writing, No Arithmetic. I'm excited to start this new chapter of my life. Let's see what I did there. Reading, writing, no arithmetic. Reading, writing, I am bad at math. This video is basically just a couple questions so that you guys can get to know me better and so that I can just sit here and talk about myself. Question number 1, where are you joining us from? I am from the United States in Southern California. Question number 2, how old are you? I'm 26, I will be 27 in October. Question number 3, why did you join BookTube? And I am here because I just really want to join the community of people talking about books, and I want to share my opinions and my thoughts and hear other people's. I buy a lot of books and I really like to watch book hauls, so I'm hoping that you guys would like to see all the books that I eventually end up hoarding in my library. Question number 4, what's the meaning behind your channel name? It's pretty self-explanatory. I love to read, I love to write, and I don't like math. Question number 5, what types of books do you like to read? I like to read young adult fantasy, paranormal, romance, things like that. I also do dive into contemporary reads, not very much though. But I'm pretty much open to anything. If somebody tells me, like, you need to read this, I'll read it. Maybe. Probably. Question number 6. Who are some of your favorite authors? My top favorite author is Sherilyn Kenyon. She wrote the Chronicles of Nick series. She's most famous for her adult paranormal romance series, which I do not currently read. I'm interested in eventually starting, but right now it's a little too romance heavy for me. I'm more into the action adventure and all that kind of stuff. So yes, Sherilyn Kenyon, check her out. Another one of my favorite authors is Susan E. She wrote the Penryn and the End of Days series, which is Angel Fall, World After, and End of Days. It's basically about a girl who's on a mission to save her sister who was captured by angels in an apocalyptic world. Question number 7, what's the last book you read? And I just finished Throne of Glass last night, and I absolutely adored this book. This book actually flew under my radar for the longest time. I had no interest in reading it. I knew of its existence, and I knew what it was about and all that stuff. It just didn't really excite me. However, I found it on sale online and I was like, I might as well, why not? And I'm really glad I did because I absolutely adored this book. There's a lot of cliche things in here, like, love triangles and all that, but it's really tastefully done. It doesn't have a really heavy romance feel to it. The main character is very strong and she doesn't make stupid girl choices that often end up being made in books for young adults with love triangles. If you don't know, this book is about a girl who was an assassin and she was enslaved for her murderous ways, and the king eventually decides to give her the option to win back her freedom by competing in 23 gladiatorial competitions. And if she wins, she will be his assistant for a while, and then after that she'll be free. So basically antics ensue, things are going on in the castle, it's a lot going on, but not too much. So if you've ever considered reading this book and you were skeptical or hesitant, I would just jump into it. It's not very long, it's a quick read, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Question number 8, what book are you currently reading? And since I loved the first one so much, I jumped directly into the second one, Crown of Midnight. I'm really excited to see if this book lives up to the other one. I don't really have much to say about it because I just started chapter 1, so I have high hopes for this, and that's all I can say for now. Question number 9, what do you use for bookmarks? And I have this little fake book that opens up to reveal all of my woodland creatures. I use little magnetic clips for the edges of my pages. I've got just animals everywhere. Animals, more animals. And then, a pickle pen. Question number 10 is show us your current TBR pile. My current TBR pile is quite massive. I want to say about 80% of the books on this shelf, plus I have shelves off camera that I need to get to. But I think I'll start with, you know, dipping into these Vampire Diaries books, I recently became obsessed with the show, and when I become obsessed with something and it happens to also have a book series, I need to buy it. I'm gonna buy it, so I bought it. I'm also going to be finishing the last 2 books in the Chronicles of Nick series. Hopefully I'll get to that pretty soon, and you know, I might end up actually making a separate video talking all about my TBR, but for now I'll leave you with that. Question number 11, which do you prefer? And this is a 3-part question. Part 1 is hardcover versus paperback, and it's a loaded question because I love hardcover mostly for the aesthetic. I am a sucker for peeling off that book cover and seeing that the book itself is black with gold writing. I don't know why, I just think that is so classy and beautiful, and I know you can't see it on camera, but the very top of my bookshelf is just lined with black and gold books. I love it. I do, however, have a preference for paperback, just because it's more convenient, it's lighter, it's cheaper, you can get into more comfortable positions while reading, and yeah, just overall, I would go with paperback. Part 2, ebook or physical book. Hands down, physical book. I'm a hoarder, I need to have it, I need to smell it, I need to feel it in my fingers. Yes, I do appreciate ebooks and audiobooks because sometimes you just don't have time or you don't have room with all your stuff or what have you, so I like the convenience of ebooks and audiobooks, but I prefer having an actual physical copy. And part 3, owning or borrowing. Do I really need to say it? I mean, like, obviously I'd rather own it. Question number 12, what book or series got you into reading? When I was younger, I read a book called The Unwanted by John Saul. I don't have a copy of it anymore. I have it somewhere, I really have no idea where though, so oops. That book was really amazing. It was more magical realism than fantasy, and when I was younger, it was really intriguing for me to read that because I hadn't experienced anything like that in reading before. After that, I took a brief hiatus from reading for a little while, but I jumped back in a couple years ago with the Intertwined series by Gina Showalter. It's basically a kid who has 4 voices in his head, and they're actually souls of people who have passed on, and each of those souls give him a supernatural ability, like raising the dead, mind reading, future sight, and another one that I can't remember. But it's a really interesting book, and there's also vampires in it, and werewolves, and fairies, and goblins, and like, it's just really interesting how she tied all of these creatures into this story of a boy who seemingly has schizophrenia. Question number 13, how did you discover BookTube? Well, I discovered it on accident. I was deciding whether or not I wanted to get into the Iron Wish series by Karen Mahoney, and I wanted to look for reviews, and so yeah, I went to YouTube, and I found a bunch of book hauls, unboxings, TBRs, reviews, and I was like, what is this? How have I not known about this? What the hell is going on? I need this in my life. So the rest is history. Question number 14, what challenges do you think you'll face in starting your channel? To be honest with you, I've had this channel up for about a week, and I'm just now creating this video. So I think one of my biggest challenges will be actually making time for videos. It's not that I don't want to or that I'm too lazy, it's just that I have a really busy life, and this is just kind of a side passion that I'm working on, so I need to try to work on putting it more on the front lines rather than in the background. Another thing I think that will challenge me is I think that I'm gonna be enabled to buy way more books, and I already have a severe problem with that. I spend so much money on books. I buy them on bargain most of the time, but still, that just means I buy more of them and have less room for them. But honestly, if I'm thinking about it, if I'm being really true with myself, there are way worse things that a person could spend their hard-earned money on. So I figure if you're gonna do it, you might as well spend it on something that's not gonna end you up in jail or dead. So, books. Question number 15, where else can we find you? You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jessie Jennings. I also have another YouTube channel where I do music, originals, parodies, and miscellaneous covers and things like that. I'll link that down below. If you actually discovered me from that channel, welcome, and thank you for supporting me on both of my channels. I really appreciate that. And yeah, so if you guys want to leave me a comment, talk about your favorite books, if I've mentioned anything that you agree with, disagree with, what have you. Yeah, so I'm just really excited for everything to get going. So, alright. Haven't really decided how I'm going to end my videos yet, so bye. Reading.